Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
Hey, welcome everybody on Sportscaster and on YouTube. Boston Bell, thanks for joining the stream. Appreciate you being here. So today, we get to go over what's happened so far in the AFC South on free agency news, right? A lot of stuff's happened, a lot of trades, a lot of signings. I want this to be very good information for you guys. This is something that I've been paying very close attention to. Obviously, since I'm a Colts guy, I cover the Colts. I want to make sure that everyone who's a fan of the Colts, even the Jaguars, the Texans, the Titans, everybody in the AFC South understands what's going on in that division, so they know what's going on with, division rivals. Before I get started, I want to say, if you're watching this on Sportscaster, please smash that favorite heart button down there below the video if you enjoy the video, and give me a follow. That way you're notified next time I go live. If you're watching on YouTube, please go ahead, hit that thumbs up like, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell so you're notified. And in the description, at the bottom of the description, is a link to one-time donations. Any and all donations is very much appreciated and will help keep me going, doing what I love to do, bringing the content that you deserve. Now, let's get started in this. So, here's the big deal. There's been a lot of trades and a lot of signings. Most notably, there's a lot of people who are kind of curious about what in the world's been going on with some of these trades. The Indianapolis Colts wanted to get bigger and better on the defensive line, and yet Jacksonville and the Titans are just like, here's our best guys. They traded them away for nearly nothing. So let's go ahead and get into this. First and foremost, Calais Campbell for the Jacksonville Jaguars, the big defensive tackle. They traded him to the Baltimore Ravens in exchange for a 5th round pick. And then, go to say Baltimore signing him to a massive 2-year, $27 million extension to his contract, because the guy is just a beast and everybody knows this. So they got weaker on the defensive line, and the reason is mind-boggling. The same with the Tennessee Titans. They just traded off Jarrell Casey for nearly nothing as well. Again, a very disruptive tackle on that defensive line, and they're getting nearly nothing out of it. Now, the Colts, they went out and they gave away a 1st round pick to get one of the best defensive tackles in the NFL. And the reason for that is this draft is not deep at the big guys on defensive line. They may have a little bit of pass rush, but not a lot. But when it comes to tackles, no, there's not a lot of depth there in this draft. So it is absolutely mind-boggling to me why the Titans and the Jaguars gave away 2 of their best linemen in this draft. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. But let's go ahead and scroll down here. Let's look at, I believe Houston is first on our list if we're going by, alphabetical order. The Houston Texans traded away DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson. Now, they do get a 2nd and a 4th round pick. They get a 2nd round pick this year, and next year they get a 4th round pick. But they also gave a 4th round pick with DeAndre Hopkins. What are you doing, Houston? This is unreal. This is coming off the heels of Buffalo trading for Stephon Diggs and dropping like all kinds of draft capital. And it's, in my opinion, it's not like they really needed David Johnson in the first place. They had Carlos Hyde and Johnson, their other running back, and they did well. They were like 7th in the NFL in rushing. Why do you need him? I don't understand. You should have just acquired as much draft capital as you could. I think that right now, your best bet was to get as much draft capital to try to get better wide receivers. If Hopkins didn't want on your team, fine. I'm sure you could have got a lot better deal out of this. This was absolutely awful in my opinion. And then they went out and they signed Randall Cobb, the 29-year-old wide receiver, to a 3-year, $27 million deal that has nearly $19 million guaranteed. So, what in the world? Randall Cobb is a few steps down and a lot older than DeAndre Hopkins. They did re-sign their kicker Fairborn to a 4-year deal, which good for them. Fairborn did a very good job. They did re-sign Darren Fells to a 2-year deal on the cheap at that. 2 years, $7 million. That ain't bad at all. That's cheap. They did re-sign A.J. McCarron, their quarterback, backup, to a 1-year, $4 million deal. Just, that whole just-in-case thing. Because Watson's been known, he's been under pressure quite a bit. Now he's gotten better since they had that trade last year with the Miami Dolphins in order to get the left tackle. But they still have holes on that offensive line. They need to get something done in that vicinity. And then, of course, Bradley Roby signed a 3-year, $36 million in order to stay in Houston as well. So good for them. They're able to keep Bradley Roby. I don't like the fact that the Houston Texans traded away their maybe the best wide receiver in the entire NFL. Tammy Tarhill, welcome to the stream. I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot. Now, so, other than losing DeAndre Hopkins, I think the Houston Texans did okay. That really, the return for Houston really hurt them. Cobb's going to take away a little bit of that problem. They still have Kenny Stills. They still have Kuti. They still have, Fuller. They got wide receivers if they can stay healthy. Because all 3 of those wide receivers have had injury concerns since they've been there. Randall Cobb's being 29 years old, who knows? They've got a very deep running back core right now. But they haven't done anything to help with that pass rush that they need to improve upon. Possibly their draft picks will help with that. We'll see. Obviously, free agency just officially is getting started at 4 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time, so you never know. Let's move down to the Indianapolis Colts. First and foremost, Anthony Costanzo, the left tackle, agreed to a 2-year, $33 million contract to stay in Indianapolis. That's a big deal. That is a monster deal because now that for 2 years, AC is going to stay with Indy. That means they don't have to go out and get a tackle to replace him immediately. They can wait to do that next season or even the season after. That opens up a lot on the draft, especially since they gave away their first-round pick to the 49ers for the big man, DeForest Buckner. That 3-tech defensive tackle, man. He is a beast. I've already got a great stream on him. You go check out my breakdown of that trade and how I feel about DeForest Buckner and what he will bring to the Indianapolis Colts. They also gave him a massive extension. Massive. $21 million a year for 5 years. And the first 2 seasons is the chunk of that. Which means it was brilliantly done by Chris Ballard. That contract was brilliantly done because in the 3rd and 4th year when Darius Leonard and Quentin Nelson comes up for extensions, you won't be worried so much about DeForest Buckner's contract getting in the way of extending those guys. And then right on the heels of the DeForest Buckner trade / signing, they did what a lot of people in the NFL thought they were going to do. It's been reported all season. They signed Phillip Rivers to a 1-year, $25 million guaranteed contract. Phillip Rivers. Now, it's not something. This is not obviously the quarterback of the future. Phillip Rivers is getting up there in age. He's in his upper 30s. However, he still has a lot to bring. He has experience. Expect the Colts to draft or sign a young quarterback that maybe Rivers can mentor and tutor, much to the way Brady and Luck mentored and tutored Jacoby Brissett. But this is more of a stopgap than anything for the Colts. They want an increase in production next year in the passing game. Phillip Rivers will bring that to them. Rivers obviously had a very poor offensive line last season with the Chargers. He's going to end up with a very good run game and a very good offensive line, good pass protection for Rivers, for someone that hasn't been used to that for many, many years. Moving on to Jacksonville. As I said earlier, they traded away Calais Campbell. Oh my. That's just terrible news. At least in my opinion, absolutely terrible news. I can't believe that they traded Calais Campbell. He was one of my favorite defensive linemen in the NFL. Patty Wack, thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate you being here. Thanks a lot. I love Calais Campbell. I think he was great. He's a big man up the middle, able to get pressure. Obviously got sacks. Very kind guy. I mean, as big as he is, you would think he'd have a mean streak, but I don't think the guy has a mean bone in his body. But he plays with intensity. Yes, he's getting up there in age, but he got himself an extension because he's still playing so darn well. I believe he had like 14 and a half sacks last year, even at his age. That tells you what kind of person Calais Campbell really is. They did franchise tag Yannick Ngakoue, which is a very smart move that allows them to keep their best pass rusher that's left on their team so that they can try to extend him or maybe even trade him off, being that it's pretty obvious that Jacksonville is in full rebuild mode, being that they don't have a single cornerback or defensive back, for that matter, safety or corner, on their team that they had from 3 years ago when they were just an absolute dominant defense. They also agreed to a 3-year, $13.5 million, $6 million guaranteed to cornerback Darqueze Dennard. Decent signing. I don't know if he's going to be... He's not going to be the pillar of this defense. Obviously, they're going to need to start acquiring more corners, more safeties in order to rebuild this pass defense, as I have said, because they don't have the same pass defense. Hopefully, Dennard will actually do a very good job for them. It's not a massive contract, but then again, he's not a superstar either. You know, he's more of a guy who goes out there and plays solid, but not someone that you want to go down and lock down your a number one wide receiver with. They also got Joe Schobert, the linebacker, 5-year, almost $54 million, $22.5 million guaranteed. Wow, that is top-notch linebacker. Is Schobert a top-notch linebacker? We're going to find out. He's shown a lot of potential since he's been around. I don't know if he's worth that kind of a contract, though. Jacksonville, obviously, in that rebuild, and they got so much money that's dead cat because of all the trades and stuff that they've had in the last few years. But of course, we'll see what happens with him. The last team on my list is the Tennessee Titans. Now, they just traded away Jarrell Casey, as I said at the beginning of this stream. Jarrell Casey, again, one of my favorite defensive linemen in the NFL. Guy gets pushed. He's not the absolute biggest monster on the field, but man, he knows how to move in on that line of scrimmage, right? He knows how to move offensive linemen in and around. He's got a lot of power behind that body of his and is able to get a lot of pressure in the backfield. And they got nearly nothing out of him in that trade. As a matter of fact, give me a second and I will actually tell you what happened to him. He was traded to the Denver Broncos, actually. For a draft, which draft pick? Is it it doesn't say, 7th round. A 7th round draft pick for Jarrell Casey. Oh my. Oh my. I'm sorry. Jarrell Casey, in my opinion, even at his age, is worth at least a fourth round pick. I mean, if you can get a 1st, a 3rd, and a 5th out of Randall Cobb, or not Randall Cobb, my part, Stephon Diggs, then Jarrell Casey's worth more than a 7th round pick. That's just my opinion. They did go get Vic Beasley, though. Now, Vic Beasley is no Jarrell Casey. All right. He had great season with the Atlanta Falcons back when Dwight Freeney was there, and they went on that whole Super Bowl run, right? And they had a great pass rush. Ever since Freeney left, Vic Beasley has kind of went downhill. This is a prove-it contract, 1 year, $9.5 million. There are some benefits to this. He can earn up to $12 million due to performance base. So this is by far a prove-it deal for Vic Beasley. This is a chance for him to show that he can actually do what a lot of people think he can do. But without a guy like Jarrell Casey to really draw double teams, how is Vic Beasley going to affect that outside edge? We'll soon find out. They did drop the franchise tag, the Tennessee Titans did, on Derrick Henry, that big rumbling running back that just took the NFL by storm last year and just ran over multiple teams in the playoffs, including, surprisingly, the New England Patriots and then the Baltimore Ravens. The guy had to be franchise tagged. He's not going anywhere. He needed to be franchise tagged. That way that gives the Titans a little bit of time to work on a new deal with him, considering they just gave Ryan Tannehill a 4-year, $118 million extension with $62 million fully guaranteed. Now, I already had a stream about Ryan Tannehill's extension. Feel free, again, go check it out on my page. I fully love this contract. Ryan Tannehill played in his 10 games at the Tennessee Titans last season, played as one of the best top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Actually led the NFL in multiple passing categories. QBR, first down pass percentage, yards per throw, that kind of stuff absolutely earned him this contract. Not to mention that, he was sacked like 31 times in 10 games. So now the Titans did lose Jack Conklin to another team during free agency, so they are going to have to go out, and you'd think they'd go out and get another offensive tackle. They did sign Dennis Kelly. It's a 3-year, $21 million with $8.5 million guaranteed. All right? It's basically an extension. He's no Jack Conklin. They're going to need to find another tackle. End of discussion. They're going to need to find another tackle. I expect that to happen in this draft. I fully expect their first round pick to probably go to an offensive tackle unless they can find one in free agency on another trade or something of that nature. So this is exactly what I've went over. I personally think that Jacksonville really went downhill, especially losing some of the guys they've lost. I think Tennessee did as well. They were able to keep their key players other than Jarrell Casey, however, so I'm very happy for them in that aspect. Hopefully they can find someone to replace him. But the biggest head scratcher so far this season has been the Houston Texans. I mean, to lose DeAndre Hopkins in such a manner and not get nearly what they needed to get back from him is just a head scratcher that has everyone in the NFL going, what in the world, right? What in the world? Come on, Bill O'Brien. Show us that you have something going on. Maybe he knows something we all don't know. Maybe he's a genius and no one else in the world is on his level, so we can't understand the genius that's rolling through his head. I don't think so, but I mean, there's what, a 0.0000001% chance that that's actually the case for Texans fans. I hope that is the case, but I seriously doubt it. All right, if you're watching on Sportscaster, you might notice that I have USN after my name. That means I am part of Unwrapped Sports Network. We have dozens of people of Unwrapped Sports here on Sportscaster. You go up here to the search bar, right up here in the upper corner, type in USN. You'll find dozens and dozens of people with USN after their name. All these people, we cover so many sports: football, baseball, basketball, wrestling, boxing, MMA, you name it. They cover it. Probably your favorite team and your favorite player. Now, granted, there's like hardly any sports out there that's going on right now other than professional wrestling and some NBA basketball maybe. And I think golf is still, not been canceled. But give them a follow. Check out who they cover first, see if they cover someone that you like or a team that you like. Give them a follow. Then let them know that I sent you next time you see them go live. But that's it for me. I appreciate everyone that's been here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Colts_Law. You can also check out my Facebook page, Colts Law. It is a Facebook group. You can feel free, ask to join. I will accept anyone. And also I'm on Patreon, Lawrence Owen, Colts Law. But until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. And this was breaking down free agency for the AFC South up till Wednesday, March 18th. Until next time, I want you to have a good one.